as far as covering those that are dying. So more dying than being born, just like we see all over the globe now, especially in these European nations. But they are now experiencing a decline that threatens their cherished welfare model, which is funded by taxpayers. Okay. Norway's Prime Minister, Erna Solberg, I guess this woman in the picture here, wow. Some of these European women are hard to look at, issued a desperate plea to citizens and said Norway needs more children as she raised concerns over the amount of children being born. Norway needs more children. I don't think I need to tell everyone how this is done. Wow. In the coming decades, we will encounter problems with this model, Prime Minister Erna Solberg warned Norwegians in her New Year's speech. There will be fewer young people to bear the increasingly heavy burden of the welfare state. Norway, Finland, and Iceland birth rates dropped to historic lows in 2017, with 1.49 to 1.71 children born per woman. Wow. Yeah, they're looking bad. Just a few years earlier, the birth rates hovered close to the 2.1 level required for their population to remain stable. In all of the Nordic countries, birth rates started dropping in the years after 2008 financial crisis. University of Oslo sociologist Trude Lappegard told AFP, the crisis is over now, but it's still falling. From Copenhagen to North Cape, from Helsinki to Reykjavik, demographics across the Nordic reveal two things. There are fewer large families, and women are waiting longer before having their first child. There is no single explanation, but financial uncertainty and a sharp rise in housing costs are seen as likely factors. And well, see, that's the problem with these folks that are running the world. You know, the funny part is they think they're doing a great job running the world, but they are discouraging people to even want to have families. The cost of living is way too high. And people are afraid to bring another child into that. They can barely take care of themselves. You know, maybe if you didn't make everything so damn unaffordable, people would want children. And not only that, these policies that you have in place on jobs when people are out on maternity leave are horrible. You can tell a female did not come up with this stuff. It is very obvious. These systems pay for, among other things, lengthy parental leaves, which in Sweden can last up to 480 days. Well, see, there you go. They get to have a lot of time off to spend with their children. In America, it's 6 weeks and then off back to work again. And they are looking at you like you crazy when you say that's not enough time. Ooh, man, these people are silly. Okay, experts present different diagnoses and prescriptions to remedy the situation. In Norway, one economist concerned about the effect the slowing demographic will have on economic growth has suggested giving women 500,000 kroner. I guess that's equivalent to 42,000 pounds in pension savings for each child born. Another suggested that, on the contrary, women in Norway who reach the age of 50 without having had a child should be paid 1 million kroner, since children also cost society a lot. Finnish municipalities have already decided to loosen their purse strings to encourage locals to get busy under the covers. Wow. In the town of Mihaikala, home of 2,000 people, is offering 10,000. I guess their money, their foreign currency for each baby born. I guess that's 10,000 kroner for each baby born and raised in the municipality. The number of childless individual is growing rapidly, and the number of women having 3 or more children is going down. This kind of fall is unheard of in modern times in Finland. Okay, in Denmark, Copenhagen has meanwhile turned its attention to men who are in less of a hurry to become parents with women, with a campaign aimed at raising awareness about how sperm quality declines with age. The Nordic region already boasts a wealth of family-friendly initiatives, such as flexible work hours, a vast network of affordable daycares, and generous parental leave systems. But when all of that is still not enough to encourage people to have more children, immigration can be a lifeline. See, they're all relying on immigration. Immigration is not going to do what they think, or a threat, depending on the point of view. Sweden may have a falling birth rate, but it still comes in second in the EU behind France, with 1.85 children born per woman in 2016. That is largely due to Sweden's decades-long history of immigration. Immigrant women tend to have more children than the average Swede, with 2.6 children per woman in recent years. The town of Anneby in southern Sweden has one of the highest rates in the country, a phenomena attributed to the fact that it opened its doors to immigrants 2 decades ago. So it's because of the immigrants. It's not because of the Swedes at all. Anneby welcomed around 225. Oh, they're Africans. They got African. No wonder it's 2.6 per children. They got Eritreans from Africa in the early 90s, and just after that, it took in refugees from the Balkans. 1994 was the demographic record for the town. Okay, so they took in, yeah, well, that's why it boosted up, because you got them Africans there. The population growth among minorities has also fueled fears. A former justice minister in Norway, Per Willy Amundsen, of the populist far right, made headlines when he called for family allowances to be reduced after a third child. He stated the goal was to stop Somalis. See, them Africans are coming in there having babies like rabbits, you know. He stated the goal was to stop Somalis, who he said had a higher birth production rate than ethnic Norwegians. So he tried to put stuff in place to stop the Somalis from reproducing so much in Norway. Oh, mommy, they're producing more than us. Sound like Pharaoh, don't it, y'all? Back when the Israelites were producing more babies than the Egyptians. He sounds like Pharaoh. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. They're struggling just like all of the European nations are struggling with children, including America and Canada, and parts of South America and those islands. They're struggling. But please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family. This article goes over reasons why immigration could never be the answer to low birth rate. And this is currently something that many of the European countries are doing, including North America and Canada, where they are lacking in births. They are trying to fill in those gaps with immigration. And I have to agree with this author, Michael Master, that that's not really the answer. It will not work. But let's get into this article. I'm going to go down a bit. Why is America suffering from not enough available workers? Simple. For the last half century, the U.S. suffered from too few births to American citizens. Today, the birth rate in the U.S. is 1.7 per woman, while at least 2.1 is needed to sustain the population. Not enough births are occurring to replace those people who age and die. Of that 1.7, white women are at, listen to this, 0.9. 0.9, y'all. That is way, way below 2.1. While Blacks are a little above with 2.0. All of the growth in the U.S. population is from immigrants with birth rates well above 3.0. Canada, Europe, Japan, China, and Russia all suffer from the same problem, birth rates that are too low. The problem is so bad for white women throughout the world that the population of Caucasians dropped from 900 million, a quarter of the world's population, to 700 million, 10% of the world's population. That's huge. So their drop is worldwide. No matter what country they are in, if you have a bunch of Caucasians there, the birth rate is low. While the total world population doubled in size, at this rate, the world white population will shrink to 500 million, 5% of the world's population, while the world population increases to 10 billion from the current 7.2 billion. Wow. Now you know why they are acting out the way that they are. But the bottom line of the whole matter, y'all, all of that acting out is not going to change their situation. It really isn't. Prior economists asserted that the birth rate fell because of weak economies. That's not why. Every country is not suffering from a weak economy. So if you look at, like he said, a quarter I'm sorry, a half a century, right? 50 years. The population among whites have been on a decline. The economy was not bad during that entire 50-year period. And plus, we went through those recessions as well. We didn't drop. Okay. So, no, it is not economic. Current feminists assert that women should not have children because of global warming. It's almost like they're trying to mask and disguise the fact that this is really a genetic thing by throwing all of these other reasons into it. I mean, look, we're living through the same global warming. So, what about the people that are not going through low birth rates and we're living through global warming? Both are excuses for not having children, not the root causes. I agree. This low birth rate started 50 years ago through good and bad economies, exactly as the draft was eliminated. Roe versus Wade went into effect. More women enrolled in college and socialism. Yeah, that's right. I mean, everybody was into their own lifestyle. So that couldn't possibly be the reason global warming and the economy. No. If the population of a country is not growing, as in Russia, China, Japan, Germany, then the only way that the economies of those countries can grow is by increasing exports, which makes them dependent on the economies of other countries as their customers. That is the main reason why all of those economies are suffering economically today. Too much dependence on exports, no internal growth of consumption. Those Americans who were born in the early 1900s are called the greatest generation. They weathered the Great Depression, World War II, Korea, even put a man on the moon, which we know that's fake. They created the baby boom from 1945 to 1965, which fueled the greatest economic boom in the history of the world from 1975 to 2005. They were overwhelmingly capitalists and Christians. If you take the countries of the world and sort them into groups according to dominant race for each country, you will find that the more socialist, sacralist countries in each racial group also have the lowest birth rates in each group. As stated in my books, the United States government was well aware of this low birth rate problem as business executives lobbied for more immigrants more than 30 years ago. So for 50 years, they already knew their birth rate was going in the toilet. So they knew for a long time. I'm telling you, they had to know. Especially when you see exactly when the decline started. It started in the 50s. And it never bounced back up. It just kept going on a decline. Just like addictive drugs, immigration is an easy, immediate fix with long-term dangerous side effects if used too long and too often. Immigration is outsourcing births with all the same negative effects of outsourcing product manufacturing. Made in America need to apply to births. not just products. When immigration was introduced to offset the low birth rate, the H-1B and H-2B and green card programs were meant to be short-term gap programs until the nation could implement programs to increase the citizen birth rate. Well, as with most government programs, short-term gap became long-term permanent. Well, that just go to show you when they had to turn to immigration 30 years ago, they knew they would never be able to get their numbers up. To me, that's an indicator. You can tell me what you think in the comment section, but when they saw the birth rate was not going nowhere 30 years ago, when they start bringing in immigrants by the droves 30 years ago, that right there was a clear indicator they weren't reproducing even then. Wow. Trump is attacking the low birth rate problems with tax reform, with cuts to immigration, with pro religion statements, and with a focus to make America great again. More needs to be done. Those things, I don't know why they think throwing money at this whole thing is going to turn around a birth rate. If you are genetically unable to reproduce, it doesn't matter what money people try to offer you. Look, in Europe, they've been doing the money thing for babies forever now, and it's not increasing the babies over there. So that should tell you right there, money is not the answer to what's going on. More can be done, but allowing more immigration will just prolong the problem and eventually kill the America we all love. Well, the America some of you love. Businesses will take the short-term gap fix and ignore doing anything about long-term reality. American businesses need to go cold turkey to kick the habit of reliance on the drug of immigrant employees. Yeah, because they love the immigrant employee because they will work pennies on the dollar. That's why they love them. Cheap labor, slaves, new slaves. That is the only way business will support what is necessary to fix the low birth rate. By reducing legal immigration and stopping illegal immigration, some very smart government and business executives will be forced to come up with some very creative fix to the low birth rate. They can't. They can't. You know, having a bunch of men sit around the table, because we know the vast majority of executives in America are men, talking about fixing this, you ain't gonna put a dent in this. I'm just telling you, you're not gonna put a dent in it. You're just talking and wasting your time. Just have a party. At least you'll enjoy it. They use immigration, then this problem will fester and even grow worse, as with any other addiction. Okay, so he's just going over things that could fix the birth rate. One, reinstate the draft. Every man and woman must serve at 18. That's not going to happen. But they do have selective service for women now. At least $12,000 tax deduction per child until 22. Child care leave and on-site child care at work. Pro-family high school classes and pro-family entertainment. Pro-family country society. No government funds to those who provide abortions. more high-tech education and trade offerings in high school, more capitalism, religion, less socialism, and secularism. Um, those things aren't going to work. You know, he is missing the mark because he's not looking at anything genetically to fix it. So those things that he lists are not going to work. Look at Hungary. It is shutting down immigration and attacking the birth rate problem head on, which will pay huge yields for Hungary in the long run. Not really. Hungary already said their birth rate is well below replacement, and they're offering like payments for homes and cars and things like that, money for women, so that they can stay home and raise their families. But even they said, you know, it's not a guarantee that's going to work, and it won't work. I mean, look, this is a global problem for them. It's not a money fix. But I think these folks are so used to money being the answer to everything, they don't realize money is not going to bring them back to a normal birth rate. Money is just money, just that. It don't have that kind of miracle to make this explosion of births around the country. But what are you going to do when people are used to believing that? And that's really what it is boiled down to. They are used to believing money is the fix to everything. It is not going to fix what's wrong with them. What we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is natural selection. It is. You know, you had your time on the planet. Now it's time to go. I mean, you can go kicking and screaming, but you're still going to go. But I guess one day from Master here, his thinking will change. Now, I agree with some of the things that he said in here, but definitely not everything. I don't believe immigration is the answer to low birth rate. I don't believe there is a real true answer for it, except for it's a process that can't be stopped. It's going to happen. And there's nothing to do, anybody can do to stop it. If man's medicine was so powerful that it could turn around a low birth rate, trust me, this has been going on for 50 years. We would have seen it by now. It don't take all this time to come up with a solution. They haven't come up with one because there isn't one. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.
Every day is a new gift from Elohim. If I endure, he shall redeem. The test and trials they come and strengthen me. Great is he in me. Great is he in me. When I wake in the morning, I'm glad to see that your love for me still remains. Oh, how I long for that salvation, yeah, and your love is my delight. On my knees I pray, yeah, keep me in your way, and I will not be moved. In your love, stay, your peace, your joy, your word, I search for more. I need your strength to guide me through. For I know every day's a new gift from Elohim. If I endure, he shall redeem. The test and trials, they come and strengthen me. Great is he in me. Great is he in me. Every day's a new gift from Elohim. If I endure, he shall redeem. The test and trials, they come and strengthen me. Great is he in me. Great is he in me. There's no other beside you, great Elohim, and the joy you give is my strength. Now I can walk higher, with your love I'm stronger, as I walk by faith. Gave us your son as grace, daily we seek your face. By you our steps are ordered. Keep me, guide me, I search for you completely. In all of this I am for you, Father, yeah. Every day's a new gift. If I endure, he shall redeem. The test and trials, they come and strengthen me. Great is he in me. Great is he in me. Every day's a new gift from Elohim. If I endure, he shall redeem. The test and trials, they come and strengthen me. Great is he in me. Great is he in me. In me. In me. Great God is he in me. In me. Great God is he. Great God is he. Great God is he. Great God is he. To my his words are lamp unto my feet. 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 Yes, Lord, His words are lamp unto my feet. His words are lamp unto my feet. Yeah, yeah. His words are lamp unto my feet. Only thing is lamp unto my feet. Only thing is lamp unto my feet. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. Today, we bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. Glorify your name. Glorify you. Glorify your name. Glorify your name. Your name. Victory today. Glorify your name. Glorify your name today. We praise your name today. Glorify your name. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your name. We praise your holy name today. Today, said we bow down and worship you. Oh yeah. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your name. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. Blessed be the name of Yah. We praise you today. Hallelujah. We praise you today. Hallelujah. In all the heavens, in all the everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From the beginning, wherever the earth was, you were there. You were there. You had creation in the palm of your hand. Sun, stars, heaven above, and earth below. The tide of the sea and the direction the winds blow. A humble servant you have made in me. A humble servant you have made. And my only desire is to follow thee. Everlasting, everlasting, from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art
All right, y'all. Shalom, 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 shalom. So glad you can all be here today. And I'm glad to see all of you. Absolutely. Thank you. Yachidam, Yachia. I'm sorry if I'm not saying it right, but thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you notice, I've been putting out videos of different biblical locations, and this is just to show you that not only are these places real, but even your caucasoid knows they're real. They're not going to tell us for the most obvious reasons. And believe me, I have a laundry list of these things that I'm going to show you. And it's many things that I was able to see over the years. And, you know, some of you might have too as well. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Some of you may have seen these things over the years as well. But just to make a long story short, I remember probably maybe 10 years ago, there was this white man that insisted that King David was white. And I said, well, that's impossible. See, this is how you can really get them on this. I said, well, that's kind of impossible. And he was like, how is that? I said, number one, King David had a son. His son was King Solomon. And then I took him to the passage in the Bible where King Solomon says, I am black. I said, so you're saying King David was a white man, but he had a black son? And he just went completely silent because you got to understand, they've been in power for so long. They seriously believe if anything is royal, it has to be them, which is very untrue because all of their royals are hand appointed. There's no real true bloodline there. They're hand appointed. And many of their royals had retardation in their family and all kinds of birth defects and stuff. And there's no way they would be a royal bloodline with that kind of crap, in their bloodline. You would never see that in a true royal family bloodline. Retardation, Down syndrome, but they have all of that in their bloodline. So that should tell you right there, there's something wrong. Even look at Queen Elizabeth's families. Anyone that was slow or had signs of retardation, those royals threw them into a home. They threw them into mental hospitals and stuff and hid them away and never spoke about them. That's not a royal bloodline. You would never see that in a royal bloodline. Yeah, they have a lot of genetic disorders. That gives it away right there. Yeah, exactly. And I even read that about Queen Elizabeth, her bloodline. There's all kinds of people they had to stash away in mental institutions and stuff in her bloodline. That would never occur in a real royalty bloodline. Just understand that. Queen Elizabeth and her family were hand appointed Germans that were imported into England as a ruling class, but they are truly not royals at all. Okay. And of course, like I said, after I whipped out what King Solomon was, the son of King David, he was ready to hightail it out. And to this day, you'll run across a lot of white people that will insist ruddy, the color of King David, which is described as ruddy, is white. Ruddy is not white. Okay. It never was white. It never will be white. But I'm going to show you in another slide video that I put together what ruddy really truly is, y'all. So I'm going to show this to you now. So hopefully everybody in this hangout know you are chosen. If you are the type of person that don't believe the Bible is real, you may not like this hangout, okay? Because that's what this is going to be all about. I'm going to show you what ruddy is, Mr. Punch Out. Actually, ruddy ranges between light and dark. It really does. But I'm going to show you what it is. So I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to have a discussion afterwards. And you'll also, in this slideshow, see King David's palace that is being evacuated in Jerusalem right now as we speak. So that's also in here as well. So let's get to this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's ruddy. Okay, that's ruddy. You see that we have many Black people with a variety of color hair. Yeah, absolutely. You know who else was considered ruddy? Malcolm X. Malcolm X was actually a natural redhead. But when you see him in so many black and white pictures, thank you. When you see him in so many black and white pictures, you don't realize it. But Malcolm X was a natural redhead. And also Red Fox, the comedian, he was ruddy. That's what you see. He was named Red because he had natural red hair. Red Fox is what you would consider a ruddy man. That is the color of King David, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they mean when they say ruddy. This ain't no white dude at all. It's not, you know, and you just got to understand these people believe since they've ruled the world for 6,000 years, nothing can be higher than them, which is the biggest lie ever. But, yeah, they're grafted. They're really not the natural beings of the Most High. We are. So, right, Sinbad. Sinbad is another one that would be ruddy, but he's more on the lighter end of ruddy. You can be ruddy and also be a darker shade as well. So it's not one color to be ruddy. Ruddy can run from light to dark, by the way. And yes, and there a lot of them are your natural redhead Black men and women, the ones that have natural red hair, which many of you, yeah, see, True Royal's mom had natural red hair. And see, so her mother would be considered the color of King David. Her mother was ruddy, just like King David. Right. Many of them have freckles. Some do. Some redheaded Black people do have freckles, but many don't. So it really can range. Some do, some don't. Yes, red bone. Exactly, Queen Forever. That's what we call them today. When we see people that look that way, we call them red bone. But that is what King David would have looked like. Right, right. So again, you can see ruddy people that are dark, and then there are some ruddy people that are light. And when I grew up, there were a few natural redheads around where I was growing up when I was living in Philadelphia. In fact, I went to school with a guy that was a natural redhead, and he was ruddy. Exactly. She has Cielo. So your daughter has black hair. but she has natural red highlights in her hair. So when she goes out in the summer, it brings out the highlights that are already there. It's not just red in the summer. It may appear that way. She really just has natural red highlights that's there all the time. It's just brought out more in the sun during the summer months. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, some of you got it. So, you know what ruddy is. So, so please don't let white people try to define what ruddy is to you. Right. Sinbad is actually ruddy too. He's more on a lighter skin, but he is still ruddy. Right. Okay. So you guys got it. I don't have to explain what ruddy is. Y'all seem to have it. Hi, problem solver EF. Welcome. So, and it's like I said, a lot of times you can debunk these things by bringing up King Solomon. Usually they'll go silent and run away after that because they don't want to hear that part. And you'll also hear many white people will tell you, oh, I don't believe in the Bible. The reason why they don't believe in the Bible is because the Bible got too much judgment against them in there. That's what they don't like. And also, that's why many of them will tell you, oh, I'm atheist. Well, being atheist is not going to stop any judgment coming against you. Okay, you can be anything you want. That judgment is still coming, period. Sienna Bragg. Oh, you're talking about Rihanna? No, no, there isn't, Brian Floyd. There is no holy family that's from the house of Esau. And it doesn't make any logical sense that King David would be white. Why would the Most High tell us everything against the house of Esau, but he's going to pick a king from the house of Esau to be King David? Come on, it makes no logical sense. No, no. In order for them to be saved at this point, they would have to repent as a group. And, individual repenting is not going to save them. And we all know they're never going to repent as a group, as a whole. They're never going to do it. So they're pretty much doomed. Okay. Now, believe it or not, in Revelation, the Most High even tells us what he looks like on the throne. So we're going to go over that next. I'm going to show you another slide, and then we're going to cover some scripture. Let me see if I can find. That's David. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can. I think I might have found it. Let's see. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll go over the scripture first. Now, the Most High actually tells us what he looks like on the throne. He tells us. Now, we know we can never look upon his face because if we look upon his face, it's instant death. But he can still describe to us what it's like to be up on his throne. And he actually does this in Revelation. So if you go to Revelation 4, verse 3, and he sat. Now this is telling you how he sat on the throne and what he looks like sitting on his throne. So, and he that sat was to look like a jasper and a sardine stone. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. He is telling you what he looks like. So he is the color of a jasper and sardine stone. And there was a rainbow around about the throne. Now, the rainbow, ladies and gentlemen, is a reminder of the covenant that we have with the Most High. He made a covenant with us and all living things on this earth. Anything he created has a covenant with him. So we are his creation. The animals are his creation. All of the plants, the trees, the vegetation, those are his creations. And in sight like an emerald, in sight like an emerald. So an emerald, we know that as the green gem. That green gem also means fertility. Fertility. And what did he tell us to be? Fruitful and multiply. That's what he said. So his appearance looks like a jasper and sardine stone, or some people say sardis. It really is the same thing. So now also he tells us on this throne what it's like. Now, when you're around his throne, it tells you right here, and out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunder and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne. Those 7 lights represents the 7 spirits of God. That's what that's what each light represents. So he's telling you, I sit on this throne and I'm the color of a jasper and sardine stone. And when I sit on my throne, there's a rainbow around my throne. And it has a glow as if it was an emerald. And you will hear the rumblings and sounds of lightning and thunder. And that's all there around his throne. And remember, the Most High never leaves his throne. Never. He's always on that throne, no matter what happens here in the world. He never leaves his throne. All right. So there was one person in the book of the Exodus that saw the backside of the Most High. And it was because he asked. Now, when Moses went up to the mountaintop to talk to the Most High, they actually dialogued with each other. Now, what an amazing thing. Can you imagine being Moses? I would kill to be able to stand on the mountaintop and talk to the Most High. What an experience he had. Now, he could not see the Most High's face, or he would have died instantly. So what the Most High did, he allowed Moses to see the back of him. He said, okay, well, I'll show you the back of me and you won't die. You'll be okay. So that he did reveal. He's the one person he ever revealed even a fraction of himself to. That had to be quite an experience to be on top of Mount Sinai and the Most High is revealing what the back of him looks like. I tell you, I would kill to see that. All right, so now let me show you. Here we go. I'm going to show you this video. And this is the appearance of our Heavenly Father. Okay. Now, you saw the color of the sardine and the jasper. So, just looking at those colors, do you see how we were made in his image? I sure do. I mean, many of us are a cross between those colors. We really are. So, so, most of us are a cross between those colors. When you look at sardine, the sardine stone goes from a dark to a light brown, and the reddish hue. So you can see what colors that he actually is. He's a cross between those two colors. Right. And you can easily come out with copper when you blend those two colors together. Absolutely. So, like I said, isn't it true that we're made in his image? When you look around at many of us, don't you see those colors? I sure do. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So when you look at us, you see those same colors as well, don't we? We from the lightest to the darkest person in those colors. So, it's all there. It's all there. Him telling us what it's like to be on that throne. I think that's phenomenal, but it's right there in Revelation. Oh, well, yeah, that's why Kathy, he's going to destroy those that spend their time hating us. All of those people are gone. They have no, if we saw any if they had any redeeming qualities, we would have seen it by now, wouldn't we? We would have seen it by now. We haven't seen it. It's not there. And there's no spirituality in them. You ever watch one of their preachers? There's no, you don't feel any spirit when they speak, even when they try to speak the word. It does not have the same spirit of when you listen to a Black preacher. They have that power in their voice to really stir and move a crowd, where when you listen to them, you don't feel anything. It doesn't even feel the same. The spirit is totally different when they speak the word or make any attempt to speak the word. Oh, absolutely. His color is superior. Our color is superior. That's why we're not out here frying in the sun. All right. Hi, Water Sniper. Welcome. Well, you know why a lot of them are so bad when it comes down to Christianity is because, hey, Loretta, um, it's because even back during chattel slavery, they were taught in church by their own pastors that they weren't doing anything wrong by enslaving us. They were taught that it was okay for them to beat us and do the things that they were doing. They were taught that mess in church. Loretta will be out of here in 5 minutes. She just she's just up here being nosy. She'll be out of here soon. All right, let's see. There's a little more that I wanted to show you. Well, yeah, like I said, they're non-believers because they already know their judgment is in the Bible. Anybody that's a non-believer, their judgment is in the Bible. That's why they don't believe. Yeah, it's turning out bad. I did a story that came out today that 53 children are now dead from that flu virus. I mean, it is no joke, y'all. It is no joke. Yeah, the Pope also sanctioned slavery. See, they were told it was okay to do these things. So in their minds, when they're mistreating you, they're not doing anything wrong, which we know is bull. That's why divine judgment is sure going to take them out of here. And they will face divine judgment. There's no way around it. No way around it. Okay, so now let's get into, let's see. All right, here we go. Solomon. So all of these people that want to insist that Solomon, who is King David's son, couldn't possibly be Black, which he tells you right here. So now we're in the Song of Solomon, and this is the first chapter, verse 5, where he's talking to a group of Hebrew women. And he's telling them, I am Black, but comely. Now, the word comely means he is Black and he is fine as hell. That's what it means. Comely means he's a good looking man. So I am Black, but comely. O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tent of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. So he's telling these women, I am black and I look good, by the way. So we can see he was not a shy man. Um, Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyards have I not kept. So he is just talking to this group of women because if you read about King Solomon, as we all know, King Solomon was quite a flirt, big time. Especially you don't have 700 wives and not be a big flirt. That's just the way it is. Okay, so there's no way King David could have been a white king and he gave birth with a black woman and had a black child. So, that pretty much debunks this, oh, he was a white man, which quite a few white people walk around and say, them, they got to be the one, they got to be the king, and it's just not cutting it. All right. So now I also had someone ask me about Asians in the Bible. What happens to Asians? Asians, ladies and gentlemen, are the result of incest. That's why they look the way they do. They look so different from everyone else. Asians will not exist anymore after the judgment. When we are left on this earth to continue on, you will not see another Asian face. Their judgment has been given a long time ago, and you can find their judgment in the book of Jeremiah, 48th chapter, and it pretty much goes over the fate of Moab. And if you go down to the second verse, there shall be no more praises of Moab. In Heshbon, they have devised evil against it. Come and let us cut it off from being a nation. That means the Asians on this planet will be completely cut off from the Most High. There will be they are going to be gone. There will be no Asian faces in the future. Also, thou hast be cut down, O madman, the sword shall pursue thee. There will be no more Asians, y'all. They will be completely destroyed. And if you go down to verse 4, Moab is destroyed. Her little ones have caused a cry to be heard. So they are not even allowed to be handmaidens and servants in the kingdom. Moab cannot be there at all. At all. The only ones that will be held over to be handmaidens and servants are the other people, such as Esau. Esau will be there, but anything considered Asians, like the East Indians and the Chinese, the Koreans, you will not see them there. They will be completely wiped out as a nation. I know some people think that's mean, but these people are here because of Lot and Lot's daughter. Okay, that's how they made it here. And, they took it upon themselves to do that act with their father, have sex and get pregnant by their father. The Most High never told them to do that. That did not come from him. That's right, Lord Maul. King Solomon said, I am black and comely, not I am white with bubble backs and pus balls. Yeah, but you know what? Every single King Solomon movie, every single one, they always made it with a white man being King Solomon. Every single one. And same with King David movies. Every single King David movie, white actor. And King David was not a white man. Moab, right? Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, East Indians, because East Indians are also Asians. All of them are gone. Like I said, the Most High is not even going to allow them to be a handmaiden or servant. They are out of here. Yes, they come from Lot and Lot's daughter. Remember, they got him drunk and they had sex with him and got pregnant, believing that after Sodom and Gomorrah, they had to repopulate the earth. Like I said, they should have just trusted in the Most High. They would have been fine, but they took it upon themselves. They took it upon themselves to get pregnant by their father. So no, so these people must go. Oh no, don't worry, Black Cobra. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Right. Ham was not cursed. That's exactly right, Jada. Ham was not to make it seem like that was the reason why we were in slavery. It was because we were cursed. No, we were punished by the Most High. And that was because our ancestors' disobedience. Remember, our ancestors stopped doing Sabbath. They stopped doing the holy holidays. They were doing what they want. And it got so bad. Ephraim refused to do anything the Most High told them to do. Ephraim almost got cut off altogether for disobedience. They were being openly defiant towards the Most High. So they almost got kicked out as being part of the tribe. It got so bad. Right. Ham actually is our cousin. Ham is our cousin, you know, but Ham is also wicked too. They've done a lot of wicked things to us, and they started their wickedness towards us back during Egypt, because all the Egyptians are Hamites, which makes me laugh. That's another reason why we know they couldn't, which makes me laugh. That's another reason why we know they couldn't possibly be white, because Hamites, Japheth cannot be Hamite, and that's why these Caucasoids sound ridiculous when they try to be Egyptians, when it clearly says that Egypt, a lot of wickedness going on among our people, not to mention all of the infighting. We used to fight each other. We had wars with the other tribes. We had things got really bad. The Most High got sick of our shit. He really did. He got sick of our shit. And that was the reason why we got in so much trouble with him and ended up in slavery. We were having, how, and I know I told some of you before, how we used to have, we had drive-by shootings, and we still have them in the neighborhood. We got on horseback and we started having horse buys. We got on the horse with the sword and started whacking people's heads off and doing all kinds of crazy shit among you. We were doing this to other tribal members, other people that were part of the 12 tribes. So he got sick and tired of us, and he had to put a stop to the madness, because too many of our people got far away from the Most High. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We did some damn horse buys and all that stuff. So it's a crazy thing, y'all. It's really crazy. And it's sad that our ancestors were just so stupid. But I think they didn't know how bad this thing was going to get. Start complaining early on, and you can see that in the book of Exodus. As soon as he took them out of slavery from Egypt, what did they do? They start bitching and complaining all, all the way. And that's why after 40 years out in the wilderness, hardly nobody made it into the promised land but Joshua and a few people, because they all had to be killed off for all of their bitching and complaining. So we have to get it right, plain and simple. There's no mistakes that we can make in our quest for the kingdom. We can't make it to the kingdom and then start acting like our ancestors. That's definitely out. You know, it's always grateful that he never stopped making us his chosen people, despite of all the rotten things that our ancestors did. He could have easily kicked us all to the curb. He could have easily kicked us all to the curb, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And I'm so grateful about that. Yeah, we're not gonna, you know what, Brian Floyd, we are not gonna have any coons or coonettes. We're not gonna have any swirlers. We're not gonna have any of these traitors among us, or those that are out there, especially if they know who they are. Hey, King Hebrew, welcome. Yeah, right. You know, unfortunately, King Solomon did marry women of other nations. Now, he did do that. And that's how, you know, that was one of the reasons why he fell out of favor with the Most High. Remember, he had women of other nations, and the biggest mistake. Now, King Solomon was the wisest man on earth and also the richest. One time he was the richest man on earth. King Solomon fell out of favor with the Most High because he started worshiping the gods of his non-Hebrew wives and started praying to them. And when he started doing that, he fell out of favor with the Most High. Now, the one king that did not, yeah, absolutely, Kathy, he was a swirler. He did have strange wives. Exactly, Jada T. And remember, King Solomon,